Welcome to the final FPL video of the season, and of course it is my team selection for game week 38. What a journey this season has been, but with some good fixtures and a little bit of rank to gain this game week. Let's see how we can do it and jump straight into today's team selection video. I honestly cannot believe that it is the last game of the Premier League season. This FPL season has completely flown by. Like, stuff has happened that we never would have expected. There's been ups, there's been downs, it's been completely dramatic all the way through. And yet we're still here having fun playing FPL no matter what happens. And of course I'm here every single week making videos for you guys at home. And of course we're going to get straight into things with the defensive line. Now, the defensive line would have looked a little bit stronger if Kieran Trippier didn't have that thigh injury. Of course, O'Brien wouldn't be on the pitch and Trippier would be there for a Newcastle double up for a great fixture with Everton at home. Now, O'Brien probably won't start, is maybe going to be an Agbadou sub there, or even a transfer in that position, taking a -4 for another forward or midfielder as well. We look at the other defenders though, and I do think there is a lot of strength here. We have Nico Williams with a fixture that will pretty much dictate who gets a Champions League space out of Chelsea and Nottingham Forest. This game is so big. I think it's probably the biggest game for the Premier League Sunday. I just don't see a bigger game than this, and I think it's going to be one of those games where Forest can really sink in defensively and look to counter and look to score set pieces. Players like Milenkovic are going to be absolutely huge this game week. Nico Williams, of course, being a defender here. I think there's a good chance he gets a clean sheet this week as he really fights at home for his team to get a Champions League spot. Of course, they've kind of fell off in recent weeks, but I think the passion of the club and, you know, that goal to be in the Champions League, I think it's going to send them there. I'm just not too sure how Chelsea are going to cope with this. Maybe we see Cole Palmer finally turning up. Maybe we don't. Who really knows? But I think it's a good fixture on paper. We have Guardiola's fixture as well. Fulham away from home. Of course, they beat Bournemouth 3-1, I believe. So, yeah, their Champions League spot is pretty much confirmed. I don't think Fulham are going to put that much of a fight up. So, yeah, Guardiola's a really good player to have. Of course, everybody bloody owns him, so it doesn't really make a difference in terms of my rank for the game week. But yeah, Guardiola's just a solid player to have with a good fixture this game week at Craven Cottage. We, of course, have Nick Pope and goal with the Everton home fixture. It would have been a Newcastle double-up, but Kieran Trippier apparently is just injured still. Maybe we get some positive news through the week. Possibly tomorrow. I'm recording this on Thursday evening after work. But yeah, I think the defence looks okay. Not world-beaten, but when we move up to the midfielders and the forwards, you can kind of see how I've been building the team out in recent weeks, because we're looking pretty strong in those departments. So let's move up to there and chat about my captaincies, my midfielders and my forwards. We've of course got a really nice 5 across the middle here, and the captaincy armband is on Mohamed Salah, but that doesn't mean he's going to be my captain for this game week. I am simply so undecided. It's mental. Like, there's so many candidates for captaincy in my team this week because it's so strong in those outfield positions. I just do not know where to put it on. When we get to the forwards and we have a bigger picture of how the entire team looks, then we'll go a bit more into captaincy. So let's talk about individual players in this midfield. Of course, Salah, will start with him because he's very high up on the captaincy debate this week. Going for the record, potentially going for the European Golden Boot. He's pretty much up there in terms of goals and assists, I believe. So getting that record would be nice at Premier League. Yeah, so many records that Salah can go ahead and beat if he just goes absolutely monstrous this game week. And I don't think Salah's the type of guy to be drinking and partying because that's just not him. That's not his religion. That's not how he's conducted himself in the Premier League. He's a machine. He's in the gym all the time, and you can just tell he's hungry for those records. In recent weeks, maybe he could have put those records to bed, but Liverpool have been firmly on the beach. So, yeah, Salah is definitely up there for captaincy. So is Mbeumo. Wolves away from home. Wolves have nothing to play for. I'm not entirely sure that Brentford can get a European spot now. I could be completely wrong about this. I'll have to check into that. But there was a chance for European football for Brentford. Maybe that's gone now with the result of Man City and Bournemouth. I'm not quite sure. But with Palace winning the Cup, maybe that brings them back in. I'm not too sure. Either way, Bryan Mbeumo is a good option, whatever the state is of that fixture. It's Wolves away from home. Bryan Mbeumo is just a great pick. A lot of people have been bringing him in recent weeks, so therefore maybe that drops him down in terms of captaincy. But then I'm gonna possibly go ahead and captain Mohamed Salah. I'll leave the captaincy chat. I'm getting too ahead of myself. Palmer in the middle. He's probably going to go this game week to go to Bukayo Saka. I don't see myself selling Salah this week to fund the Saka move because I just don't rate Palmer's fixture as highly as I did last week. Of course, I captained Palmer last week. Didn't turn out too great because Manchester United defended pretty well. Put out a team where, look, they were pretty much unchanged in the final, Europa League final, which was on yesterday. A very strong team, to be fair, in terms of personnel. So yeah, Chelsea didn't really have the dominating goal scoring opportunities that I maybe expected them to have, and I don't think it's going to happen in this Forest fixture either. I think Forest will dig deep and will defend for their lives in this fixture. We have Semenyo with Leicester at home, and Semenyo, yes, he's a bit of an annoying asset to own because it seems like when you bench him, he does well. When you play him, he does bad. You can't win with Semenyo, but Leicester at home, surely you can win in this fixture. This is a great fixture for Semenyo, and maybe another captaincy candidate this week. And of course, Jarrod Bowen, Ipswich away from home. Maybe you can kind of tell the theme of the team, which I've been trying to build for the past few weeks, for the final week of the FPL season. Good fixtures, good informed players. That's just how I've been building it, and that's hopefully how I'm going to finish the season strong. Let's get the forwards involved here, speak about them, and then, of course, cover captaincy for the game week. Last week, Alexander Isak was sold, and Ollie Watkins joined the side for his two amazing fixtures of Spurs, and then this week, of course, Manchester United away from home. I mean, look, we probably all watched the Europa League final. Spurs and Manchester United are just really, really bad. They're not good teams whatsoever at the moment. And I can honestly see Ollie Watkins tearing United apart to go ahead and earn the Champions League spot that they probably deserve after this season. They've been pretty decent for the majority of this Premier League season. Of course, had a pretty good run in the Champions League as well until they faced PSG, where things turned pretty sour despite their amazing comeback within the second leg. So yeah, Ollie Watkins I think is a great asset this week. Evan Nielsen as well. Leicester at home. It's just such a good fixture. Now it comes to captaincy. What on earth do I do here? Of course, we have Marmoush on the bench as well. I didn't even speak about Marmoush. Fulham away from home for Marmoush could be great. I just don't know if he starts yet, so he's on the bench at the moment. If we get some good news, he probably starts over someone else. Who that will be, I don't know. Probably Cole Palmer, but then I'm going to buy Saka potentially. So there's just too many good options for me this week. Way too many. So maybe a defensive transfer is how I improve the team. But captaincy, let's go back to captaincy here because there's just so many options. So many options. If we cover sort of the higher ownership ones first, we've got Salah, we've got Watkins, we've got Mbeumo. Those three I think will be highly captained this week, as well as Bukayo Saka for those who do go ahead and buy him. We then have the other three of Semenyo, Evan Nielsen, Bowen. Three differential assets in a way. Bowen's kind of getting to that point where he's not differential anymore because people have seen this form spring to action the past few weeks and then move to him. I've had him for a good while now, and he's been fantastic for me. Semenyo and Evan Nielsen are still differentials at really low ownership points. So, yeah, those three I would say are good differential captains anyway. Not a lot of people are going to captain these players / own them anyway. So, from my mindset, after having a really disappointing week last week with captaincy on Cole Palmer, do I honestly want to go differential again? Do I want to risk it all with an Evan Nielsen captaincy and really try pushing this last week? I was about to say last few weeks. Last week, do I want to go ahead and push that? I really don't know. I really don't know how I feel about captaincy this week. The safest bet and the easiest bet for captaincy this week is to put it on Mo Salah and just leave it. That is the safest one. If you're protecting rank, if you're happy, if you're ahead in your mini leagues, great. Captain Mo Salah, job's a good one. Because then if your mini league sort of second places or the people behind you in rank, if they go ahead and, well, I'm going to try catch up in rank and go for like a Semenyo and Evan Nielsen, a Bowen, whoever else differential, and it fails, and Salah does what Salah probably should be doing to get these records, look, you're miles ahead. You've won your mini league. You're probably laughing at your mate for captaining someone stupid. But the possibility of pushing your rank up in that final week to break that mini league leader's lead with a differential captain would feel absolutely amazing. I'm of course pushing to beat 140,000k. That was my rank last season, 140k. I don't think I'm going to do it, if I'm being really, really honest. Maybe a -4, Saka in, O'Brien out. Well, would be Trippier out, so I can afford a more expensive defender like a Ben White. But yeah, there's so many possibilities this week. I'm getting to the point where I'm waffling because it's the final video and I kind of don't want it to end. But of course I will be hopefully live and fitting well on Sunday morning for the deadline stream. If you don't know already, I'm a massive Sunderland fan. We are in the playoff final, which I'm going to actually tomorrow on Friday. We're going to Trafalgar Square. We're going to take it over. And then hopefully we can get promoted to the Premier League on Saturday. Yeah, I'm nervous, and hopefully I can own Sunderland players in FPL next season. Maybe it's not the best idea, but we'll get into that next season. But yeah, we'll move on to the outro now because I'm just waffling on, to be really honest. Normally my outros are pretty short, pretty snippy, because that's what YouTube loves. But it's the last video of the FPL season. We'll make it a little bit more longer. We'll make it a bit more special. 805 days I've been on YouTube. 805 days. That's a long time, boys and girls. And I've failed a million times. And I've learnt a million times. And especially this season, I've learnt so much. I've started live streaming. I've started adapting my lifestyle to more regular uploads, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Often trying daily uploads, which were completely crazy to me because there's so much effort that goes into it. But yeah, you guys are the absolute motivator to all of that. And I have to be really honest, there's probably 30 videos in my recycling bin right now where I've recorded this section and choked up completely because it's a little bit emotional. But we've got so far through this outro. We're going to be composed. We're going to end in the trademark way of that is everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. We got there in the end. Bye for now.